Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ajulam. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're new to my channel, you're welcome. Consider subscribing and don't forget to turn on the bell icon so that I get to know anytime I post new videos. So today I'm going to show us the easiest way of cutting and stitching a layered circle dress for a little girl. So if you're interested, let's get started. To make a layered dress, you'll be needing your tulle net. As you can see, I have mine here and I'm working with 6 yards of my tulle net, and then I have my 1 yard of satin and of course my 1 yard of cotton lining. So these are the 3 major things that you need to make a layered circle dress. So the first thing I'm going to do is to quickly draft an A-line pattern first. From there we are going to manipulate, or we're going to alter the pattern now to have a 90-degree circle. So I'll just take it one at a time. So I have my paper here, and then the first thing to do is to mark out the length of the dress, and I want the length of the dress to be 24 inches. I'll not be adding any sewing allowance yet, so I'll just quickly mark out 24 inches and then connect it straight. After this, I'll mark out the chest line measurement, or the armhole measurement, which is always half of the shoulder measurement. Now for this particular one that I'm making now, it's for a 3-year-old and the shoulder measurement is 9, so half of that is 4.5. But because this is an A-line dress, I want it very free on the armhole area, so I'll just make it 5 inches instead of 4.5. If you want yours to be fitted on that armhole area, you can just maintain what you have, which is half of the shoulder measurement. So I'm working with 5 now. I will just mark that out, and then you're going to note the hip measurement that you have. So these are the 3 basic measurements that you need to draft a simple A-line dress. Now the hip measurement, I will not be inserting that because it's not necessary. I will only insert that on the hemline, where I'll be extending it to form the A-line pattern. So let me just quickly connect my points now to a straight line, and then we continue. So here you can see I have the line extended, so I'm going to go ahead now and mark out the shoulder measurement. Remember, I'm working with 4.5, which is half of 9, and then just follow the process and then work with your own measurements. Then I'll come down by half an inch for the shoulder slope, and then for the neck width I'll be using 2.5 because I want it very free, and I'll use the same on the neck depth. Okay, so for the neck depth I'll make it 2 1/4, and then we connect on this line. I will just go ahead and mark out the chest measurement. You can see that I'm rushing this part because it's the same way that we draft a basic bodice. Okay, just that this one ends, this one is longer. So the chest measurement that I'm working with is 5.75, which is 23 divided by 4. Okay, and then I will also mark out the shoulder measurement that I'm working with, just to get the curve, the armhole curve. Okay, so I'll just connect all the points. Okay, and then for the hemline that I said that we're going to extend, all I'm going to do now is to take whatever I have here, or you can use the hip measurement like I said earlier. Just divide the hip measurement that you're working with by 4, and then add 3 inches to that, and then mark that on this hemline, and you have your A-line pattern ready. So I'll just quickly do this part so we can continue. So here you can see that my A-line pattern is ready. So we're going to alter this pattern now to create a 90-degree circle. I just want the circle to be very small. So before that, I'll come over to this neckline. So this is the neckline now. I will decide how many inches I'll be using for this upper side, that is this side that is going to be like a band. So you decide how many inches or how wide you want it to be or small. So I want this to be just 2 inches. From this neckline, I'll just come down by 2 inches, and then I'll connect that point straight. Okay, so if you have your sequin or any other fabric, you can then, or if you're doing a kind of patchwork, you can use something different for this other side now, not your 2 nets. So I'll just connect it straight. So this part, we're going to cut it off, but when you're cutting on your fabric, make sure to include the sewing allowance on this part. So now I'll just cut it off, and then we'll alter the rest of the pattern. Okay, so like I said earlier, I want the circle to be very small. So all I'm going to do is to use the slash and spread method now for this lower side. So I'll come to this midpoint. You can see this is the center line, and then I'll slash it open. When on getting to this armhole line now, I will just end it there. Okay, if you want more circle, you can go ahead and then slash, have like 3 lines, and then slash them open, so that by the time you spread it open, you have enough for what you want to use it for. So I'll just go ahead and slash this open now, and then I will spread this out on my satin. Okay, and I'll just spread it out on my satin. Then before that, you need to note what you have now from this point to this point, because whatever you have here, we're going to divide that by 3 to form the 3 layers. So we want to make this, I'll be making this exactly as it is on the thumbnail. So what I have here is 19.5. okay, then I'll divide this by 3. Whatever I have, I'm going to insert it to form my 3 the lines I'll be sewing the ruffles. And then the first ruffle, the first layer is going to be gathered, second one is going to be gathered as well, but the last one is going to be flee. I'll also show us how to do that. So let me just spread this on my satin first, and then cut before we continue. Alright, after cutting it out, this is what I have. You can see the shape that I'm having here. You can see that my flare is very little. Like I said earlier, it's just 90 degree. So all I'm going to do now for the back side, I'm going to take this now and then place it on my satin, but I'm going to be leaving 1 inch for the zipper allowance. Okay, then after cutting it out, we're going to use the length that we have here now to create the 3 layers. You know, this dress is going to be 3 layers. So now, since I have 19.5 here, that is the length that I have left. And remember that I used the initial length for this part. So at the end of the day, by the time we trim the satin side, the satin is going to be smaller, while we have the net, the actual length. Okay, so I have 19.5. All I'm going to do is to fold my tape in 3 and then mark the point on my paper. Okay, and then I will check what I have on each of my lines to know how many inches or how many inch I'm going to cut on my 2 nets. Okay, so you can see I'm trying to fold into 3. This way you don't need to start calculating and then stressing your head. So you just press your tape and then mark the point on your paper. I've done this already on my satin. I just want to show you how I did that. Okay, so this is the 3 points here. You can see that I am marking them. So after marking, you connect it straight. Okay, so we're going to do for the back side is still the same method. Okay, so I'll just connect it straight, and then now we're going to decide how many inches I'll be using on my 2 nets. But before that, I would like to remind us that our online classes for this month is on. If you're interested in any of them, we have the beginner, the intermediate, the advanced, the cupcake dress, the trouser class, okay, or the wavy effect dress. Whichever one that you're interested, just send me a WhatsApp message on the number that will be dropping in the description box for you to see the outline and how to go about the class. So here is the 3 lines that I have here. Now you can see that this one is the first line. This particular one that is close to the chest line is the first line. That's the first layer. Now this is the second layer, and this is the third layer. So this is what you're going to be doing, or this is how you're going to cut your tulle net. So you're going to start from this lowest one here, and then check what you have from that line to the hem line. For this one, it is 6.5. So this is 6.5 now. So on my net, I'll be cutting out 7 inches. You know, ½ inch is for the sewing allowance on the line. Okay, I am making this exactly as it is here, just that you need to add the ½ inch or whichever inch you prefer using as your sewing allowance. So for this first layer is going to be 7 inches. I am noting that so that I will not forget. Then now for the second layer is going to be a little different, because I want the second layer to cover up this gather or the stitching that is going to sit on this line. Okay, now if I place my tape there, is also 6.5. that is for the second layer. All right, but I will not be cutting out 6.5 because it's not supposed, this one here, the stitching here is not supposed to be visible, so we need to add extra inches to cover up this stitching that is going to sit on this line. So for that reason, I'll just add extra 1.5. Okay, so this is 6.5, this is half, this is 1, so just extra 1.5, and then I'll have 8 inches. You know, so by the time you join it here, it is going to be on this line, not here. But now remember that you also need the ½ inch again for the sewing allowance on this second line. So in total, I'll be cutting out for this second line is going to be 8.5 inches. So this is very important. You need to take your time and calculate this so you don't make any mistakes. So this is 8.5. Now if you have 8.5 or whatever number that you have, depending on the age or the measurement that you're working with, you're going to use the same for this one that is sitting exactly on the waist. Okay, so this is also going to be 8.5. Now like I said earlier, these 2 layers is going to be gathered, while this one here is going to be circle. I will not gather this one, so we'll just take it one at a time. So I'll just go ahead and cut out 7 inches for the first layer, and then 8.5 inches for the second layer, and then I'll come back and show us how you cut out the flare that is going to sit on this particular one. All right, so let me just quickly do this so we can round up. All right, like I said earlier, you can see I have my tulle net already spread out. So what I did here, remember that I'm working with 6 yards, so I removed 4 yards. I just folded it for easy cutting. The other 2 yards, I'll be using that now to cut out the flare that will sit exactly on this part that is close to the chest line. Okay, so I'll use the flare one, which is the 2 yards, because I want to double it, and these ones I'll also double it. So now I'll just go ahead and cut out. The first one is 7 inches, and like I said, I'll double it. So all I need to do is just to mark out 14 inches, and then after cutting it out, I will divide it into 2 and then join it together and use my gather stitch to run it all the way through. And then the second one is 8.5. remember that I said the first layer and the second layer we are going to gather these 2, while the last one is going to be a flare. So this second one is 8.5, and I want to double it, so I'll just go ahead and mark out from this point. I'll just mark out 17, okay, which is 8.5 by 2, 17, and then I'll divide that into 2 and also double it. You can see that I still have some net remaining on this one. Maybe I'll decide to make it 3 panels each of these, so that I don't waste my net. If you want, you can also make it even 4 layers, 4 panels, or even 5, depending on the thickness, the volume you want the ruffles to have. So now I'll quickly cut this part off and then gather them and then join it on my satin. Now to the second one, you can see I have my 2 yards here already in 4 folds, as you can see. So this is the first one here. This is 1 yard, and this other one is 1 yard. I just folded it same way you fold when you want to make a full circle pattern. So now I'm going to use the measurement that I have on this part that I'll be joining it, which is from this point to this point, which is 4.5. remember, it's half of the shoulder measurement that I have here, so this is 4.5. So 4.5, now you multiply that by 4, because if you open it up for the front, it's going to be 9, while the back side is also going to be 9, making it 18 inches. But I'll be adding extra 2 inches to that because of my zipper sewing allowance, so I'll have 20 inches in total. So you work with your own measurement but follow the same process. So I'm going to divide the 20 inches now by 6.28, which is the formula for a full circle. Whatever I have there now, I'll mark it out on this end all round, okay, and then mark out the length. Remember that the length is also 8.5, so I'll mark out the 8.5 here all the way around and then cut it out. So I'll quickly rush this part because I don't want this video to be long. So let me just cut it out and then use the gather stitch and run it and join it, and then show you how to attach the upper side of this dress. So this is where we are so far. As you can see, I just finished joining the 2 layers on the satin, but before joining I close the sides first. So this is the back side. You can see I just closed the sides before you now join the layers. So now I'm going to be joining the flare. Remember that this last one is going to be flare, and I have 2 pieces of that, okay, but as it is, I am going to make it 4 pieces. That is for this flare, because I don't want this part to be visible. So I will go ahead and add extra 2 layers, making it 4 layers in total. That is for the flare, and then I'll just stretch it out and then pin it down. So I'll just go ahead and pin it down to match with what I have here. Okay, just pin it straight. After pinning all the 4, okay, after pinning all the 4, then you come over to this armhole and then follow the shape of the one on the satin, and then cut the same shape on the net, so that it will be easy for you when you're joining the sleeve parts. And you're going to repeat the same on this other side. So I'll just make these 4 pieces and then pin it all the way down to this other end. So here I have the chest line side. That's the one remaining for the bodice part. This is it. All I did here was just to join the shoulders together, and this is going to be for the lining. I am using the same for both the main fabric and the lining as well. So what I'm going to do is to join the ruffles on the sleeve. Okay, so for the ruffles, it's very easy. All I did was just to use what I have left from my 4 yards and then gather it together. Okay, so this is what I used for that. Okay, this is a long strip that I have here. So this is the height of this is 6 inches by 60 inches. Okay, so this is 6 inches, and then the width is by 60 inches. So all I did was just to gather it and then pull it together to have something like this. Okay, then I'll just go ahead and place it on this armhole as it is. Okay, you're going to attach the ruffles before closing up this part. So I'll just go ahead and stitch this on this end, and then stitch the second one on this other end, and then I'll take this now, place it over like this. You can see the wrong side facing each other, and then I'll close the neckline and then the armhole. Then you turn it inside out. After turning it inside out, you can now join this, but before that you need to close the side so that it will match up with what you have on this one. So you need to close the sides, which is this part. Now you need to close it. So the only opening you have is for this back side, which is going to be for the zipper allowance. So let me just quickly stitch this and then show you how to close it up. So after sewing it, this is what I have. You can see that the back and the front is already looking clean. I've not given this a press. So this is what you should have after joining these ruffles on it. So now this is how you're going to close this. Now this is the lower part. Okay, remember I said I'll be adding my circles here. So now this is assuming I've added that already, this is the upper one. Now all you need to do is to turn it over this way. Okay, make sure that it matches with what you have here. Remember that your lining should also be the same with the satin. Okay, so when you turn it over now, you'll now take your lining and place it on top before you now close up these parts. Okay, you follow the same way and then close the back side. So you just take it one at a time. You close this together with the lining so that by the time you turn, you're going to have a very nice work inside. Okay, you're going to repeat the same for this back side, and then you attach your zipper. So that is how to go about making this beautiful 3-layer dress. That is it for today. Please subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you all in my next video.